back out in outdoor studios as our air conditioner is broken. So it's currently 86 and it's been as high as 88 degrees inside the house. So the whole family, including myself, is going to be sleeping in the basement. So can't be in the basement for the live stream. So what better place than being out here in the yard? So as always, we are going to be just hanging out. I don't really have anything that I have planned to talk about, and we'll see if we get any folks to come and join us. At the moment, what I'm trying to do, and I always forget how to do, is find myself. Andy's Lawn Care, what's up, man? How's it going, big guy? Let's see. Here we go. So we can go in here. We gotta mute the old computer. There we go. I can see the chat a little bit easier. So, it's been a little while. So I have had work get pretty crazy where there was stuff on Sunday nights that I needed to be doing. And then last week we were out of town visiting my parents for Memorial Day weekend. We spent the weekend there. And yeah, so been doing quite a bit. I have pretty much full germination out on the side yard. I want to get together a kind of video on how do you go about filling in low spots and getting that seeded if you're going to do that in the spring. Again, it's gone just fine. I'm able to water over there without much trouble. Done the video on PGR reapplication. Done my best to kind of research that for everyone to kind of figure that out. Continuing to maintain the putting green. Just last night, as I have spotted, I have I believe, well, I got a carpenter bee nest actually directly above me in this pergola here, which is not ideal. And then I think it's either bumblebee or carpenter bee are making a nest over in the corner of my property. And I also saw a ground wasp go in there, so I've started up the Bifin IT application, as that is labeled to deal with wasps. So I would really, really like to get a year where I don't get stung by wasps coming out of hive in the ground that I just ran over with the lawnmower. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. Lawn Sensei, hello, how's it going, man? Happy to see ya. So let's see, what else? Didn't end up having, I kind of teased and talked about the fact that I was getting the yard ready for a party this weekend, which is going to be today. But with our air conditioner broken and our kids kind of having colds, we didn't end up having anybody over. So I just put fertilizer down and watered to get the yard as green as possible for nobody to come, which is fine. I have used a sulfate of potash in my yard to deal with a low potassium as well. And again, to this point, I've used the My Soil tests, which I know are kind of controversial. And with that, so last fall, actually, I went twice. I did a pound of potassium from that sulfate of potash, and then did a 5 pounds of a 10-10-10. So basically a half pound of everything, and then an additional pound of potassium. I did that twice last fall, and in spring I was still potassium deficient. So I don't know if that's to say whether it works or doesn't work. I mean, it obviously works. The product is in there, and it's being applied into your soil. But it's a matter of whether it's becoming plants available and how it's working. John, I know it's absurd. I've had to water twice this last week. I watered Tuesday, Wednesday all day to water my front and backyards individually. So Tuesday and Wednesday I watered, and then Friday and Saturday I watered. And yeah, pretty much the only reason mine's so green is because I've been watering. And an additional 2 or 3 times I've had to water the section under that pine tree in the front, because that just zaps all the water from that. But it's nuts. I don't even know really what to think about it. It's even like aware of existing in terms of having, these types of temperatures and drought in, May and early June here in the Midwest. Usually it's, like Facebook look back and stuff is all just memories of me like screaming about how the fact that it just won't stop raining. And we have such a small amount of rain here, like literally 3 or 4 inches on the year, all year total 3 or 4 inches. Oh, Andy, I know I have, well, I currently have 8 of the 20 Hunter PGP heads set up watering the side yard seeding project, all just on spikes and connected by hoses. But I have 20 heads, and I have delusions of in trying to install an irrigation system myself, at least in the front yard. Backyard I don't want to do yet because the configuration is still going to change a lot because we are still, I still have behind the pool over there is all that stone and rock and stuff that will eventually become part of the yard, and all the way around the back, where all the overgrowth was, that'll eventually get seeded, and who knows what this all ends up looking like. So I don't want to do irrigation in the back yet because it might need to change. But yeah, the front I definitely want to do because it takes so long. It would take just as long if I had an irrigation system, but at least I wouldn't have to move the sprinklers every hour or two. So let's see. Another big kind of exciting thing that's coming up is I'm fortunate enough that my father-in-law is a landscape designer. And so we have our landscape design all set. All I need to do is either find someone that's willing to take a concrete job to do my walkway to the front door, or do that project myself, and then we can order plants and finally have landscaping here at the house, which would be really nice because to this point all we've done is taken plants and flowers and shrubs and bushes out because they were all overgrown and looked terrible. So I'm really, really excited to get a design put together. It's going to be really cool. It picks up a lot of space. It'll wrap out in the front yard. It'll wrap out to that big pine tree and bring that into the landscaping around the house. And then wrap both sides as well. So you'll have two kind of on the little side strip that I started reel mowing last year. If you would have been following the channel at that time, my initial experiment with reel mowing was this little spot on the side. It'll wrap around there too, and I'll have kind of just two half moons of turf that kind of come around, and my plan will be to reel mow those. So that'll kind of be the entrance into the house is a red bud tree. So you'll have this big, like, beautiful kind of purpley red tree in the middle, all the plants around it, and real cut turf right around there, and that'll be the entrance into the main section of my backyard. It's right, oh boy, right there will be where that is. But I'm very excited for that because, man, I want landscaping because what's the point of having a nice yard if you don't have a nice landscape too? Finished up my weekend mow 20 minutes ago. Yeah, hey John, I appreciate it. I knew I didn't recognize the name, and I try to at least remember all the people from the Wisconsin area, so I appreciate you finding the channel and subscribing and showing up here on a Sunday night. I've been trying to do this every week when I can, just to kind of I like it because it's a kind of a sense of community with the people who are subscribed to me. I'll do my best to answer questions, so if you are here, if you have questions, absolutely fire them away. But I'm not that guy, so I might not have all the answers, but I will do my best. And yeah, I didn't even cut. You can see it's looking pretty shaggy behind me because you live around the area here. It's been like 90 since Thursday, and it hasn't rained. So like I'm just leaving it. I don't want to cut it. All I've done is water, and try to help it out the best I can. Project lawn yesterday. It's looking all right, but a little toasty. Throwing down at 12, 12, 12, and some disease X. Yeah, I was over. I'm splitting mowing duty at my mother and father-in-law's house, and they have they're on the same program that my brother-in-law project is, the low cost, low effort, the cheap and easy lawn care program, and their backyard is cooked. Like, and really every yard around me, like every single one of them is almost fully or completely dormant by this point. And even the sections of my yard that aren't watered are completely dormant, completely checked out. I have no idea what the brother-in-law looks like right now. I know they've been on vacation for like 10 days, and I know that was shortly after putting down 10 pounds per thousand of a 10-10-10. So who knows what that's going to look like. I told him to jack the mower all the way up when he gets home to mow it. But we'll see. We'll be back there probably in the next 10 days or so. We'll be due to go over there, do the next fertilizer application, and do the follow-up weed control. So we'll get an update on how well that Spectracide did over there, and then follow up there and keep that program rolling, which I'm really excited about it. It doesn't seem to be catching a lot of traction in terms of the YouTube space. You know, those videos aren't huge view getters, which I was hopeful they were, because for me it's kind of a cool thing to put out there, a program for people that are kind of new to lawn care and just want to do as little as possible and spend as little as possible. It's a really cheap and cheerful program I put together in it, and I've had great results with it the one year that I did it. So a little more hopeful it would do better, but I like doing that because, for one, it gives me an opportunity to help out the family. Hopefully, maybe help some other people catch the lawn care bug, and the other piece is it makes good content because, you know, as YouTube channels advance over time, you run out of content, like you run out of videos to make. So everything that you start to talk about becomes more and more advanced over time, just because you've talked about everything already. You've already covered all the basics, and you don't want to just make the same video over and over again. So I think right now there kind of can be, although as I've done this, I've kind of seen a resurgence of people kind of coming to the same conclusion I've come to. But yeah, it's putting something out there for people who are just starting and, you know, don't want to become lawn care nuts. They just want to, for as little time and money as possible, have a nicer yard. I think I keep looking past the camera. I think we might have a pretty special, here, walk with me. I think we might have a pretty good sunset going on. Back over here. Let's see. Cameras never do any of this stuff justice. In real life, that's all pink and orange. It's really pretty. Cameras don't really do it any justice, though. Actually, you know what? While I'm up and walking, let me see if I'm smart enough to figure out how to flip this camera. So like I said, this area over here has not been watered. And you can see it's really starting to check out through this area here. If I come over, you can see, so I'm only watering this area where I seeded. And so you can see the line basically where the irrigation is really, really nice. And then down here where and in the front I've been watering as well, which is looking pretty good. And I don't know how far I'm going to be able to walk back this way, but I can get a quick look back at the putting green, which really you've been looking at this whole time anyway. So come back and assume my position at the teaching table. I've established this spot as the place where I do all of my videos, where I try to teach people things, because if you're gonna have a putting green in your backyard, you better have it be the backdrop for all of your videos, right? Especially if you're just gonna be talking, you got to give the people something to look at. So, John finished up a mow. Are you? I know. John, whereabouts are you? Because I know, like in the Fox Valley and some parts of Wisconsin, they've had a little bit more rain. Down here by Milwaukee, like it's just nothing. And I know there aren't all that many of you, but in the chat this evening. But what are you guys all working on? I know Andy talked about going to the project lawn. John was getting a little mowing this weekend. You can see I got a ball back on the putting green, so I was out here chipping around a little bit earlier today. Also, we got a pool set up, which has been an absolute hero this weekend, because basically, let's see, we set that pool up and then promptly our air conditioner stopped working. So it has been 90 plus degrees the entire weekend, and we are without air conditioning. The highest temperature that the thermostat has read to this point is 88. So it has been as hot as 88 degrees inside our house this weekend. I'm about an hour north of you. Nice, Paul. Where does that put you, in Fond du Lac or so? Somewhere around there? I'm originally from the Fox Valley. Ryan, man, how's it going? It's going all right. I'm outside now, which is fine. Inside my house is literal hell. Unfortunately, it appears as though over the weekend, okay, yep, that makes sense. On the low side of an hour as opposed to the high side of an hour. Yeah, so over the winter, it would appear as though mice decided that my air conditioner had too many wires in it. And so they chewed through all the wiring. We had somebody come out and fixed it. It ran for another week or so, but apparently everything was too damaged to continue to function. So Tuesday night, I noticed our air conditioner kicked down to 74 and it was running, and it was 78 in our house, blowing lukewarm air, and we have had no air conditioner since Tuesday night. So it's Friday night it was 84, last night it was 88, tonight it was again 88 inside our house. Not fun times. So that's awesome. 9 people are in the chat, and at least two of them. Well, I guess I'm one of those 9, so at least 3 of them are from Wisconsin. That's pretty cool. It's cool that I kind of I've kind of some people have found me who are from my area. So hopefully I can be as helpful to you folks as possible, since I'm from the same kind of area as you guys. Ron, you have not missed it. I didn't talk about it. So, let's see. I haven't watered it outside. So, shoot, I wish I was in the basement. I have actually what I've done. So I have MP rotators MP rotator 3000s, 30s, 3000s, 300s, the one with the 3 in it. And I have one of those back there, and I will water when it starts to look dry, basically, is all I've done. It's kind of what I do with my whole yard. It's just that gets dry a little bit more often. So with the lack of rain, I have watered my whole yard 3 times. I did once back at one point in May, and then I've watered twice this last week, trying to get around a ½ inch. I don't think I quite get there, but pretty close to a ½ inch. And I'll try to put the same amount down on the green when it starts to look dry. So I think maybe another 5 or so times. It's to about, you know. Oh, am I back? Oh, we're back. All right. The internet didn't like what I'm doing here. What was he even talking about? The last 2 days, because it's been 90 plus and sunny. I have gone and just hand with the hose, because it's small. It's like 28 by 17 or something like that. And I've just gone out and hand syringed it during the day. Basically, just gotten everything wet, try to cool it off, and it's still holding pretty well given the conditions. So that's exciting. Yeah, you wasted all your barrel water when you didn't need to, and now it's so bad. Like I think Kenny Cooper shared, like, we're in like not severe but extreme, which I don't know how they determine which order all these adverbs or adjectives, all these adjectives need to go. Is extreme bad, worse than severe, or talking's hard, but yeah, it's bad, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. Paul, that's awesome, man. I appreciate you. And yeah, I don't, especially if you're somebody from the Wisconsin area, I don't blame you not watching the snow removal videos. Honestly, nobody watches those. I just put them out because I feel an obligation to put out some videos, and at least some of the like time-lapse stuff I feel is a little bit satisfying to watch. So maybe somebody wants to just kind of like relax to that sound in the background or whatever. I don't know. And yeah, that being in George's video was huge for the channel. So I appreciate you finding me from that, and I appreciate you subscribing to my channel as well. What's the height of cut on the bent grass green? We are at 1/8 of an inch. Although I know there are different bed knives for the Greens Masters, or for all greens mowers. I don't know which mine has, so I can feel it. If you would have watched let's see, which video was it? The yard update video, where I started that video with the first cut at 1/8 of an inch, and you can see the Greensmaster kind of floating laterally a little bit, like it's kind of like turning and floating around. I think it's because it's actually sitting on the bottom of the bed knife, because I don't have the I don't actually know that. I might have the micro one, I'm just an idiot. But I'm thinking I don't have the like micro bed knife that you're supposed to have when you cut this short. But it's set to answer. That's a long way of answering your question. It's set at 1/8 of an inch. So I have the AccuGauge gauge to 0.125. And then the fairway, which is all surrounding the fringe, and the fairway are at 0.4 of an inch. And that's on the Jacobson. Yeah, now you don't even get any rain to fill those barrels back up. So hopefully your little hand dug well gets you some. Uh, John, I appreciate that. And I was um, the Memorial Day weekend. We had an outing with all the guys I grew up with, playing golf with in high school and college, and we were all quite good. Um, there's still a couple of us that are quite good, but most of us are now much less good. So I went 84, 86 over the weekend. I couldn't, as embarrassing as it is to admit, my short game did not start off good, and with having this in the backyard, it seems to have gotten worse. So not exactly a great plug for having a putting green in your backyard for the purposes of golf. Um, but yeah, that's and 7 handicap's good. That's a good player. I think bottomed out at like 4.5. I've typically said I'd be a 6, but I don't think that's correct anymore. I'm probably somewhere around an 8 to 10 based on how I've played this year. Water bill last month was oh, hey, what's up, Justin? Um, yeah. Fortunately, I'm on a well. Honestly, if I was on city water and having to pay to water it, I'd probably just let it go dormant. One thing I do want to do here and talk about is kind of, and with YouTube, you kind of have to make clickbaity titles. But the one thing that I want to do is like the one thing you can do for your yard during summer that is like one of the most important things, and it's free, is to jack your lawnmower up all the way. It really does make a huge difference in terms of your yard's ability to survive summer stress and survive heat and survive drought. So I've had the front yard, all of the areas that haven't yet been renovated have all been completely left alone. Never fertilized, never watered, never anything. I spend none of my time or effort or resources on those sections. And come, even right now, but usually come mid to late summer when I'm mowing at 3.5 inches and, all my neighbors are mowing at the, usual 2.5, whatever, normies do. That section of my yard that's not fertilized, not treated at all, is way greener than any other yard in the area because I'm mowing often when I'm able to mow often, i.e. I'm getting some rain and the temperatures are allowing me to mow. And I'm also not cutting at times like this. Like I'm not going to cut until it rains and or the temperatures come back down. I'm just going to let it live because I think one of the things is you don't want to compound stress. So your cutting your grass is stressing it out. And the heat and the temperature and the lack of rain is all factors that are stressing your yard out, and I don't want to add another one that I don't need to add. Clint, man, what's up? I figured since you messaged me earlier and I said I was going to go live, I figured I needed to go live. And plus, it gets me out of my house right now, which is an actual sauna. Callaway guy. Okay. I used to actually, fun fact, or maybe not that fun. I don't know. That's maybe more up for you to decide. I worked in a golf store for 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. I think I worked in a golf store for 6 years. So I, I have everything in my bag. I have a Titleist driver, TaylorMade, old TaylorMade 3-wood, Cleveland. They have the driving irons now, but the like initial driving iron from Cleveland as my like 2-iron hybrid. It's honestly almost to the point of becoming a meme amongst the friends that I play golf with. And then actually my set of irons isn't even all the same. I had bought a Nike TW combo set that has the True Blade short irons, and then it had cavity back long irons. And somebody traded in a set of Mizuno MP32, I think I have, which are the True Blade. And somebody traded in, and trade in with golf equipment is theft. Like it's literal theft. And I was fortunate enough that the store I worked at let us buy equipment for whatever our cost was. So I got a set of Mizuno MP32s, which are like the better part of $1,000. I bought them for $80. So I actually have that Mizuno MP32 in my long irons, and then the Nike TW Red blades in my short irons, and then Cleveland wedges I just bought in a Scotty Cameron for a putter. Do snakes hide in 3-inch grass though? Also, I didn't know snakes was a Canadian problem. It's not for us. Like we don't have any really snake issues around these parts. Um, oh man, chat's really starting to pop off here. New clubs that you go TaylorMade. That's kind of like TaylorMade's just like they're like the Apple of golf, where like their marketing has just been way better than everybody else's marketing. Like even I worked in the store from 2007 to 2012. And even back then, like everybody came in looking for TaylorMade. They're just better at marketing. All of them, all the clubs are the same, like almost exactly the same, but they're just better at marketing than anybody else. Um, yeah, there was a time I was very good at golf. I'm still a very good striker of the golf ball, but my short game really lets me down. 106. See, this is the time when me as somebody from the Midwest, I am actually required by Midwest law to that's to dry heat though, so it's not as bad. It's really humid here, so when it's 90, it's not the same. Or it is the same. It's actually worse here when it's 90 because it's humid than it is there when it's 106, which is that's stupid. 106 is way worse, but it's literally Midwest law that when somebody talks about heat in the desert, we have to say, but it's a dry heat. Like it's in the rules. Favorite tour golfer? I in recent years, you mentioned Phil. I really didn't like Phil. Um, I saw Phil as the guy that every white dude that's racist but doesn't want to say they're racist liked because he was the only person that could beat Tiger. Um, I really did not like Phil until recently, where like now he's so chill and like just enjoying playing the game it's hard not to like him. So I've kind of started to become a fan. It always has been Tiger Woods. For me, I just was the age where, I was, let's see, in like 96, 97, 98, 99, when he was dominant, I was like 8 to 12. So those are like the years where you're going to get drawn to somebody like that. So I was a huge, huge Tiger fan. Plus, the guy completely changed the game. They had to redesign Augusta National because of this gentleman. I mean, it's just a special athlete. Now, uh, I like just about everyone that's relevant on tour right now. Like I think John Rahm is fun to watch play the game. Justin Thomas is fun to watch play the game. Rory sucks, and that makes me really sad because he's one of my favorite people to watch play the game. But my goodness, is he bad right now? Let's see. Dustin Johnson's fun to watch play the game. I know everybody hates on him for being boring in interviews or whatever, but I don't know if any of you follow TaylorMade Golf's YouTube channel. I think the dude's hilarious. He's just so chill that everybody thinks he's boring, but like he just has a super super dry sense of humor. Um, so yeah, I like pretty much all the guys that are good and relevant right now. I like pretty much all of them. It's a cool time for golf. I mean, 970. Those irons, honestly, if it's something that's been made since 2012, I don't understand it because I stopped really following golf or like golf equipment since I stopped working at the golf store. Anything pre 2012, I got that on lock. I'll be able to tell you everything about it. Um, Aaron, yes. Fun fact, I've mentioned it a couple times. So for those of you that have been sticking around the whole time, it's going to become redundant. But it has been 90 plus for the last 4 days, and my air conditioner is broken. So right now, as we speak, it's 86 degrees inside my house. It's awful. Which is why I'm outside tonight and not in the basement, because the whole family is going to be sleeping in the basement tonight. Um... Here's the reason. I don't know if that's Clint. I don't know if that's the role model he'd want to be. Is the reason that you didn't go to school, but that's awesome. I think I've missed quite a few comments here. Let's see what's going on. Yes, golf. I mean, they were about 20% less expensive. So Joe bringing up the golf clubs. Yeah, that was back in the $400 driver days, not the what are we up to 540 now? I might never buy a driver again. The only clubs I've bought since I left the store are the wedges that I got this winter. And that was because they were closeout, so my buddy that still now actually manages the store. Um, they're I got them for $60 each, and then $40 for my trade in. So for $140, I got those 3 wedges. Princess Cut. George, what is up, man? Looking forward to the content with the Allet and Swordman videos. I'm excited to see that and see what you guys come up with that. I'm never gonna buy one of those. I shouldn't say never. I might buy one of those, but it's gonna be a long time until I might buy one of those. But it'll be interesting to see how you liking the Allet to this point. I know you said I think another week that you're enjoying it. Andy's watering every 4 days to deal with the drought. That's pretty much what I've had to do here. Like I said, I watered Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Friday, Saturday. Yeah, okay. A couple people agreeing with me on Tiger. Nate grabbing some Hydrotane. I don't know. I want to experiment with that, but at the same time, like I'm already don't have enough time to apply all the stuff that I want to apply, and I just don't think I'm going to do it. Andy, actually, I forgot about DeChambeau. I hated him when he first came on tour because everything about him is stupid. His hat's stupid. His single length irons are stupid. The way he swings a golf club is stupid. Everything about it. I absolutely hated that gentleman. But actually, one of my good friends is a huge fan. He might even be in watching right now. I know he's a subscriber. He was like one of the first people to subscribe to my channel. And he's a huge Bryson fan, and he kind of started to eat away at me. And I started to think about it, and it was like, you know what? The guy basically just took math and figured in like a bunch of protein, I assume, and just figured out how to make the ball go so far. Like I really don't. The thing I learned working at the golf store is everybody hits it 300 yards. Everybody that walked through that door hit it 300 yards. And you know how many people that walked through the door hit it 300 yards? This many. This many people hit it 300 yards. I don't even hit it 300 yards, and I promise you I'm 30 yards past any of the guys that told me they hit it 300 yards. The distances that guy hits the golf ball is so far. Like, I can't even comprehend how it's unbelievable how far he makes the ball go. Like, to just think about the fact that I'm, more often than not, I'm the longest hitter in my group. And to think about this gentleman is flying a golf ball 70 plus yards past me is nuts. And yeah, John Daly is insane. Literally insane. And his pants are awesome. The fact that he just like created a meme pant cloth, a meme clothing brand is fantastic. An actual question. Bubba, what's up, man? What's your thought on high stress lawn to green it up? Add nutrients, more water, let it sit high for a while. So more jacked up high is a big thing. So I did a little walk around earlier when it was still light out and showed there's where I'm watering in the side yard to get the seed to germinate. Sorry, I just got a text from my nephew. Where I'm getting the seed to germinate, I'm not watering that whole area. I'm just watering where I put dirt down and seed it. And so there's like a literal line of very, very green, very healthy turf, and then brown. So really the only thing you can do, nothing you can do is going to overcome the lack of water. You can do things to help, you can over time, you can work on establishing a deep and healthy root system. You can do, you can do all sorts of things to help, mow it taller, do things like get potassium to help with plant hardiness, phosphorus to get roots to develop, assuming your soil needs phosphorus. Know that before you go throwing a bunch of phosphorus down, as some soils are just naturally high in phosphorus. Things like that to help, but nothing you can do is going to overcome a lack of water. The only thing you can do is water. And hope for the best. And when you do water, in the efforts of being as economic and resource efficient as you can. Water a lot, like once or twice at most a week, as opposed to just a little bit every day. You're gonna cause more problems than you solve if you're watering a little bit every day. Deep and infrequent is the common adage. What else we got? A great golfer. I still would have taken the scholarship, man. That was one thing I wish I would have pursued, is trying to play golf somewhere. I think I was good enough, maybe not the highest tier Division 1. I probably wasn't good, but I could have played for a school somewhere, and I wish I would have done that. Least used club in my bag. Driver, I assume. Threw it a crap. Why are you throwing irons away? They're just old? Nice. Yeah, I feel like I would go Allet over Swordman. It just seems to be a more compact unit, and it seems to just be like better overall than the Swordman from what I've perceived from people who have Allets versus people who have Swordmans. Clint, don't you already have the Electra? Oh, that's the Swordman. Never mind. You have Allet's Electric. The Electra is Swordman, isn't it? Jim, yeah, actually, Aaron, your point on Jim Furyk, those types of swings I find really interesting. Like the fact that Sergio is able to get it back to the golf ball, despite literally his address position has his hands in between his legs, and then he picks the club like straight up out in front of him. And I love that. Watching Jim Furyk play golf is fantastic. Couples is a great pick too. You see, channel surfing, I don't know if it's that Bryson is a douchebag, or if it's just that everybody is constantly ragging on the poor guy, and then whenever he like fires back to defend himself, then everybody latches onto that thing that he said. So I'm not actually. It's probably kind of in the middle, where he's kind of a little bit pretentious and douchey, but then also just the weight of everyone on tour hating him just makes it worse. And yes, Fred Couples is awesome. The fact that he competes at Augusta every year and is like good still somehow with just the greatest tempo the game's ever seen. Little John Daly coming up. Yeah. Loan out equipment to my driving range. Why do you have so many? Like, you have this? Oh, that's right, because you have you got to loan out your two triplexes and all your greens mowers, Nate. My Ryan, my mother and father-in-law's house, the backyard is pretty much all. Sorry, apparently you guys can hear the sirens in the background. I don't actually know what's going on. Oh man, it's hard to read chat and talk. My mother and father-in-law's house, the backyard is sun exposed and it's just brown and cooked. But the front yard is pretty shaded, so it's actually starting to come in where that front yard historically won't grow anything because it's so shady. But now it's actually, because it seems to be actually doing fairly well. Now that I'm fertilizing it, it's getting mowed relatively frequently. Where it's starting to come in and fill in. I think I have befores of that front. I hope I do, because it's come a long way so far. So I would like to have that in support of the low-cost, low-effort program. Oh, okay. Gotcha. You suggest not cutting so frequently with the lack of rain? Yes, Aaron. To answer your question, so asking about what you really want to not do, and what I hear constantly, and it makes sense, right? Everybody works their 9 to 5 during the day, then Saturday comes around, you wake up, you have your coffee, you hang out, then you finally get the motivation to go mow, and it's about noon, and you go cut your lawn when it's 90 degrees and it's drought stressed and it's the middle of the day and the sun is baking down on it. Like, don't do that. It's probably a good time for some evening lawn work. Get out there as the sun starts to set and cut it if you have to. I don't know a lot about like the stress relationship between letting it grow and survive through the drought, and then the stress that's going to come once you kind of scalp it down back to your normal cutting height, or cutting it while it's under stress from the drought and the heat. I'm gonna make the assumption that a one-time scalp, once it gets some rain or once the temperatures let go for a couple days to cut then, is better, is less stressful than cutting off more than, you know, the 1/3 rule or whatever. Cops looking for me. Apparently, they're out looking for somebody. Yeah, I need it now. Currently, stress relief currently is what I need because um, it's bad. It's bad out here. Fortunately, I've been able. Fortunately, I'm on a well, and that well has a bunch of water, and the pump has been holding strong. So I've been able to put quite a bit of water out on the yard this last week, um, and it's holding really well in comparison to all my neighbors. But without that, we'd be having problems. One thing I will say is with the dry spring, as I'm out here right now, I should be getting just absolutely shredded by mosquitoes, and I don't think I've been bit yet. Although there's one, there's a buddy. Well, we got him. So we might be wrapping up here pretty soon. If I do have about 7% DEET on the whole body. I wish it was the Deepwood's off 25% DEET, but hey, you got to take the DEET you can find. But I haven't been bit up yet, at least. But I think they're starting to find me. So we might be wrapping up soon. But let's see. So we got more people in the chat here now. I started off talking a little bit about the projects that I've been doing. A lot of it's been watering. I've had a couple fertilizer applications go down. I got my seed coming in on the leveling project in the side yard, so I can cut over there with the Gravely. Putting green's going well. We got landscape design, so I got to figure out how to get a concrete walkway done, either by myself or having somebody that's willing to do it. I called a concrete company in my area, and the receptionist basically told me to go fork myself because they're too busy right now and my job is too small, so they're not even going to consider coming out here. So I don't know if I can find somebody that's willing to do it, or I might get an opportunity to learn how to do concrete. I did. For those of you who follow me on Instagram or are friends with me on Facebook, I actually replaced all of the siding on the side of my garage that I might have melted with the brush fire. But that's a crowning achievement for me, getting all that off and getting the siding put back on there, and it's all staying. And I got the gutter, the downspout all back reinstalled, which is awesome. Ryan, you say everything's easy. That's not a good reference for somebody as helpless as me. Although I might not be as helpless as I think. I don't know. I've done siding now. I did that valve adjustment. What's everybody else doing? Yeah, Aaron, depending on where you're located, that might have been an aggressive time to dethatch. If it's, especially if you're in a place that's been getting this heat and this drought, dethatching might not have been the most recommended activity, as that is something that stresses the grass out quite a bit, and kind of parlaying it with all the other stresses. But hopefully it comes back. It should. It's grass. It's way hardier than people give it credit for. Longest 90-degree stretch in 25 years for me here. 11. Oof. We at least aren't going to have that. I think we have storms roll through tomorrow, and then we get a reprieve back down into the 80s. Or at least a front roll through. I only have a 50% chance of rain, which, based on the last 9-ish months or so, mean that it is absolutely not going to rain here. Good forms in these places. Okay. If the rewind feature, although I didn't walk all the way back there because I think I'd lose my wireless connection, but I'd have to carry my my ring light back there as well because it's dark. Green's looking good though. I'll continue to update. I'll continue to update that obviously throughout the year because it seems to be. A lot of people have found my channel from that backyard putting green video, and people have also found my channel from getting the Greens Master to cut the putting green from George's video. So anytime I talk about the putting green or anytime the putting green's finished, it like pretty much doubles or triples my video performance. So it's definitely going to be on the channel a lot. Because although I don't make a lot of money on YouTube, I do make some money, and I'm going to try to make as much as possible. Did it when the temps were sitting up. Okay, so it at least got some time. Okay, yeah. The funny thing is I played golf last Friday, and it was 50 degrees. I had like a Under Armour long underwear thing on, underneath my shirt, underneath my jacket, underneath another jacket. I had a winter hat on, and that was 8 days ago. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, everyone. Because of the putting green channel surfing, hard to find info on home putting. Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm channel surfing to your point. That's kind of what I'm trying to shape all of the content around the putting green around, is that I'm a newbie idiot as well. And it's turning out to not be as difficult as people would lead you to believe that it is. It's not really that, like, it's not easy. I was out here today with a hose, just hand watering it to give it a little syringe in the middle of the day. There's a little bit of time and effort that goes into it, but it's really not as hard as you might think. I mean, since you're here, since that's what you're here for, if you do have any questions, like if it's something you're trying to get into and you got a couple questions that you want to ask, go for it. Or anybody, if you have any questions on anything, I'm not an expert. I might not have the answer, but I'll try my best. Got out of hand quickly. It really did. It went from, it was 50 degrees here, and I'm sure it's different based on wherever you are in either the country or world. But it went from 50 to like 80 in a couple days, and then immediately to 90. Have I had fungus issues at all? Yes. I have fungus issues in my entire yard. I have, let's see, it's either what, the fungus where you get the hourglasses on the middle of the leaf blade. I don't know if that's dollar spot or whatever, gray leaf, whatever. I don't know. I'm not good with knowing what diseases are, but it's the one where you get the hourglasses on the leaf blade. I also get rust disease throughout the property. That's been something I had on the front. My neighbor also gets rust. I actually have powdery mildew on the Kentucky bluegrass in the front, which that's a new one, and that's still hanging around. But what I've been doing is every 4 or 5 weeks, I'm doing Headway G on the entire property, and at some point I'll rotate in another active ingredient. Maybe like next year I'll use a liquid or something that's got a different active ingredient to just not always use propiconazole and azoxystrobin. But the disease issues haven't been too bad. Again, my putting green's not all the way filled in. It's thin in spots and just outright dirt in some other spots. So, but at the same time, it's all rolled and it's all cut with a reel mower that weighs a couple 100 pounds, and it's got a roller on the back. So even though it's not all grass and not all like really full and filled in, it rolls really well still, because it's, what is there is cut at 1/8 of an inch, and then when it gets onto the dirt, that's obviously really quick, and it rolls really true. But yeah, the disease issues are going to be there. I am trying to be as active as I can be in getting out in front, and I use Headway G on the whole property, which is fork and expensive, but I don't really have a choice. Just disease issues is something I deal with here pretty bad. Yeah, of course, Nate has all of the equipment, I'm sure. Which the big sad day for me today. Somebody messaged me that they were gonna buy the McLean, which I'm trying to sell the McLean, and somebody what the hell is that? Ah, somebody was. I don't like bugs. Somebody was trying to buy I think it's actually a June bug. Lay your eggs all you want. I put grub X down. They ain't surviving. But somebody was going to come and buy the McLean today, but they apparently got approval from upper management to get a Swordman. So good for him. Congrats to that gentleman getting himself a new Swordman, but not ideal for me. Ooh. Yeah, that's going to be a struggle. How did... Like, did somebody come channel surfing? Did somebody, like, did they have like a gravel parking lot and they just put a couple inches of dirt on top? How do you just get the gravel at some point? That's not gonna be fun, because turf cut that short and bent grass. If it's bent grass, if it's Bermuda, you maybe have a better shot. But if it's bent, cut that short. The second the temps come up, it's really gonna struggle if it's literally just gravel underneath. the root zone is going to be so shallow that that is just going to cook in the summer. So I don't know. You could try for a little while to see. Maybe there is some dirt and organic material down there that the roots can get into and amongst that gravel, and it'll figure out a way to survive. But you might need to either dig that out or try doing it somewhere else. Jamie's got another 95 day. Yeah, tomorrow's another hot day. Tomorrow afternoon we get the new air conditioner, and then the temperatures break and it gets colder. So my air conditioner broke. We had 5 days in the 90s, and then when the temperatures are going to break, we will get a new air conditioner, which kind of is just how it always works, right? Yeah, and Ryan can speak, Backwoods Lawn Care can speak to that too for you, channel surfing, where he actually went and constructed, like dug down and then put in a, I think, 80-20 sand soil mix. And you really fight against water retention and nutrient retention when you do that. It's really good for drainage. It's going to be really good for disease control. And it's going to be really good for, just general health, but it becomes much more difficult to manage because you're constantly having water run through and nutrients run through with that sand. Yeah, that's going to be. Is this like the first year that you've been in this house? Have you been able to get through a year with it like that? I mean, it might work. It's just going to be a pretty severe increased degree of difficulty. Plus, you're never going to be able to cut a hole in it because the cups are, you got to cut like an 8-inch deep hole to get a cup in it. So you're not really going to be able to do that either with that gravel. I can't even get a hole cutter on one shot 8 inches into my clay, let alone gravel. Mosquitoes. Yeah, or a more soil heavy sand mixture. Well, like right now, I've aerated at least once, and we'll probably do it again in the fall. Aerated and then brushed sand into the aerate holes to try to get the soil, because my soil is just brick clay back there. Which again, people are going to tell you that you're not going to be able to do this on clay, and you can't grow healthy healthy turf and clay and all that, which is also garbage. But I am trying to kind of amend that soil to be a little bit sandier to help with the drainage and to help with all of that. Second summer, a 3D printed cutter. Interesting. That sounds like it was probably a lot cheaper than the whole cutter that I bought. But at the same time, if you're going to drive it into rocks, I would recommend not spending that much on a hole cutter. All right. Let's see if I missed anybody else. So yeah, computer battery's starting to die, phone battery's starting to die, mosquitoes are coming out in full force. So I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Appreciate all of you as always. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say 8 likes is probably the highest like count I've been on a live stream. So thank you so much for that. Been pretty consistently a good number of you here, which I really do truly appreciate. And yes, 4-inch PVC will work, and also R&R does have a bunch of cool stuff. I've spent a lot of money there, but I appreciate all you showing up. I'm gonna try to yeah, we've been staying hydrated. We're all sleeping in the basement tonight, which is fairly comfortable. We did that last night as well. But yeah, got pretty soon the side yard's going to be filled in, so I can get some content out around what I did there to get that to fill in the low spots and get that leveled out where I can mow it with a larger deck, and how I got that all to regerminate, and that it will be fine despite seeding in the spring, which is a big seed in the spring. And then yeah, continued projects going on, figuring out how to continue to manage all the area back behind me. Once I finish up my bifenthrin application, I'm going to spray out the front yard and get that project started to finish up the renovation up there. And so yeah, stuff to look forward to. I'm going to try, I think next Sunday will work again, so my plan will be about 8:15 Central to do this live stream again. I appreciate all of you so much stopping by. Thank you very much. Appreciate you all. Have yourself a great night. Have a good week, and we'll see you again soon.